we can figure it out from there. So, hello. This is the second fucking time we've done this.
Second time through. We're going to redo all of the same bits with absolutely no deviation of any sort. It's going to be sort of a soulless rendition. The only thing that might change, we're going to be laughing a little bit less, but you've got to understand.
We've already heard it once.
Right, we're laughing less because we've already done this, right? But you haven't done this, so we expect you all to laugh exactly as if this is completely new content to you, okay? So if any
Damn, because we had some good shit. Maybe one day I'll be able to show you the good shit. I got fucking banned by Zoom. Did you know that? Did you know that Zoom actually listens to your conversation? Because I didn't know that.
Is that actually, like, did it say why?
Yes,
so
because it said, like, you breached the terms and conditions, and your account has been banned. Or suspended or frozen or whatever the fuck they said.
So basically, for context here, we finished up a whole recording, right? We recorded like an hour or something. It wraps up. It kicks us off. It has that little like Zoom countdown timer where it's like, you have 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, 1 minute left, and then it kicks us. And then we got kicked. And then instead of saying, here's your download file, here's your audio, what it instead said was, we fucking banned you.
We got fucking banned.
You violated our terms and conditions, and we're not your audio. We're holding it hostage.
As it turns out, I don't think you're allowed to. Apparently, you can't call Zoom a Jew on their own platform.
There's no way. There's no way that's it, man. Like, it cannot be.
It had to be either that or like we didn't talk about anything else because like the terms and conditions.
No, it was literally the tamest thing. That's why it's so like I assume it has to be some sort of thing where they associated your name with like your email with like your Twitter profile, and the Chinese government decided that you posted like something against the CCP or something. Like,
it has to be something more complicated than that.
Yeah, like literally something like that, ridiculous and unlikely, makes more sense to me than it is that Zoom auto bans you for ever saying the word Jew, because like Jew is literally a normal word.
It is a normal word. That's a good point.
Like, there's gonna be like a literal Jewish person saying I'm Jewish.
Oh, you know what?
Oh, you're fucking banned.
Oh, you know what's funny? It actually, I think I know what it was. And we'll find out. We'll find out if James and all of them are banned too. Because the last time I used Zoom, we were making like Holocaust jokes. It's very possible that's what got me banned.
Yeah, that makes sense. I bet they probably track it. That would be super funny if they did like a spite ban thing where like they've had your recording that you did with James. They knew they were going to ban you, but they were waiting to ban you until you produced a recording, right? Like they wanted to steal that hour of time from you by fucking up the recording.
Being petty. To you. Exactly.
I would do that. Like if I owned a software company and I knew that I was going to ban people and I was fuck them. Like what's the most irritating thing I could possibly do to these people?
Yeah, this is fucking ridiculous though. I've never seen anything like this. It's so good to know that. So Zoom is just Chinese spyware bullshit, I think.
Dude, so I had my drone was a DJI drone. It's a Chinese company, and I think due to like the fact that it's Chinese, I think they're scared of getting additional like some sort of additional regulation from the US government. So they're super, super careful about not violating any FAA or local regulatory like airspace guideline type stuff. So if you try and take this drone off in an area that's within like one of the like 18 zones of FAA like warning tier list, it like just won't let you. Or like there will be some places where it'll like say, oh, you can't fly higher than like 20 feet or something like that. And it's like zogged. Like you can't use the fucking drone. Or if it
just turns back around. It's like if you use
if you fly it into one of the zones where it's not allowed, it'll say like return to home activated, and it just comes back like
that's kind of sick. In like
it's cool in like a techno
dystopian. Yeah.
But like I went and I was trying to I brought my drone over to my parents the last time I visited for my dad's birthday, and my mom just she was like, oh yeah, you should bring it. Like I want to see pictures of my house from like these angles and stuff. Like she planted some really big willow tree, and it's like grown a ton, and she wanted to get pictures of it for some sort of like family card or something like that. And so I was like, yeah, sure, I can take it over. And we're like trying to get it to take off, and it's like you need to contact this this airport and like get this regulatory sign off before you can fly the drone in your. And my mom was so pissed. She was having like an ultimate like libertarian moment, like flipping out, like I can't believe they're fucking. This is my damn house. Like it's a private property. I don't control my own damn airspace. Is this what it's come to?
Unfortunately, you don't control your own airspace. That is the American way.
She was making a very logical argument for it, saying like, well, my house is this tall. Why would I not be able to fly up at least as tall as my house?
That's actually a really good point.
Right, it is a good point, but unfortunately, that's not how the law works. That's not how any of this works.
That's fucking insane. This whole I'm so shocked right now that I got banned from Zoom. Like it's like in a way it makes perfect sense, but in a way I'm like they really scanned my fucking conversation. Oh, I mean, assuming that I'm not just so fucking famous that the CCP is coming for me.
Right, like that's the kind of spooky thing about all of this is like there's no reason that they would ban you that isn't related to some sort of explicit investigation into whatever information you were giving it, right? Like it's either listening to what you're saying or it's associated your account with another one of your accounts with another one of your accounts and decided that like you're a bad guy or like something. Like there's no situation where it's just like you went into the chat and you called someone the N-word and it's that simple. It's like they had listening to your conversation or monitoring your data.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, it has to be monitoring my data because it does. Even if they listen to the call, because the call was really tame, right? And I've said worse talking to like basically anyone that I've talked to on Zoom. So it would have to be like them really actually data mining me and just just cross referencing my account with other shit.
That's so bad. I mean,
that is really bad.
Anything, right? Like the stories basically consisted of me talking about the way that my cats have caused like half of the neighborhood females to come over and knock on my door to try and like feed them until they're fat, and me starving my cats as a subsequent consequence of all of the neighborhood making them fat, and then what was the
one with the fleas.
Yeah, just all it all really did centrally tie back to the cats, right? They were really the uniform.
Yeah, a lot of cat stories. You like busted your head open, and just really normal stories.
The neighbor's daughter like trying to break into my house to like play with the cats, and me like trying to be like, no, you cannot come into my house. I'm not having someone your age coming into my house with me alone. You absolutely cannot do this. Walking over, telling their parents, hey, keep your daughter on your property, please.
And maybe it was the Amber Alert jokes. Maybe they didn't like that too much.
Oh yeah, it could have been. It could have been all right.
Like, yeah, and you're not allowed to talk about kids setting off the Amber Alert like electric fence.
I went over and I told the mom like, hey, like your daughter's like really polite and stuff, and she's really nice, and she hasn't like done anything that's been like bad or harmful or anything. And I get that. So like she used to have, I guess, a best friend who lived, or their best friend's family lived in the house that I now live in. And so like,
oh, interesting.
So it was like a good family friend of hers, and she would like they would just go over to each other's houses and play all the time. So I guess like kid brain doesn't really understand like the concept of like property ownership. It's just like a weird territorial thing. So in her brain, because her old friend and neighbor used to live here and she used to just walk over and come in whenever, it wasn't like a problem for her to do this, even though it's now a different person living in the house. But like it very much so is. Like, and I was always wondering, because I would be like in the garage dicking around, like welding something or like working on a bike or something like that. And she would just kind of come over in, and like I would take off the welding hood and look over my shoulder, and there'd just be this fucking like 10-year-old girl behind me, and be like, what the like what? Wait a second. Where did you come from? She'd be like, what you doing? And I'm like, like this isn't like safe. You should be. What are your parents doing? I don't know.
That's so I'm confused. No, first of all, I understand the kid part, but I'm so confused. What do you weld? Like you have a weld? You just weld? That's what you do? He's like welding your own.
I haven't really done it. So I basically got a ton of structural steel for free, like a ludicrous amount. Like we're talking like probably close to like 6 figures worth. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna learn to weld, and I'm gonna start making some nice shelving for my garage because like I have the metal. Why not? It seems like a fun thing to do. Uh, and so
Just
it's not super hard to teach yourself to like weld
use
at like a
fire, use a torch. I'm
no,
just imagining you as like in like a anime montage where like you like come out from underneath your car and then you pull the hood up. Yeah, I don't know. That's just I can't imagine just welding. I'm just too urban for that. I'm like, first of all, I'm shocked that you even had a garage. You can go outside and shit. That's nuts.
I am a big I yeah, the garage is really nice. I kind of wanted a 3-car garage, but I live in I don't know what it is. It's always fucking snowy here in the winter. It's really bad. But for some reason, like garages are just really, really rare. And
Wait, really?
yeah, yeah, like it's.
Where do you put your car?
I know. Yeah,
It's like it's also like
it's very. So I don't want to say they're really rare, but it's probably like half of houses don't have a garage, and it's like
that's really strange.
the housing prices are substantially higher than the prices in the state capital where they do have garages and have bigger houses and stuff. It's like a maybe we should cut this part. But
Well, this part, I mean, this so far you haven't said anything that's doxable. You
yeah,
just basically described most of America.
yeah, but basically like the jump from a 2-car garage to a 3-car garage going like it's like a 4x in housing price. It's really silly.
Oh, that makes sense.
But
I feel like 2-car garage is like the standard garage.
Yeah, no, 2-car garage was really shitty when I had my ex living with me and she was always using one of those stalls. Now that she's gone and I have 2 stalls to myself, it's fine. It's like I'm probably gonna get rid of a lot of my motorcycles, and then it'll be even more than fine. But like even now, it's fine.
How many? You have multiple motorcycles?
Yeah, I've got like 4.
Do you like? Are they like? Are you the type to like buy new ones or just like fix them up?
I usually buy like I don't usually buy new anything, but it's usually like well when I first bought a lot of this stuff, I was a little more frugal, I guess. So I would usually go like 10, 15 years old. I'd probably get newer stuff now. The one that I usually ride is like a 2010-ish or something like that.
Interesting. Bikes aren't that expensive though, right? Like they're like
Bikes can actually get. Fortunately, bikes haven't. So you know how like the used car prices all kind of like exploded.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's really pissing me off actually because I'm trying to buy one and I'm looking at the blue book price and I'm like, oh, so you're selling it for like a 2x markup? Okay, suck my dick.
Yeah, it's literally insane. Where like if you had any used car and you held it for the last 2 years, you're now in like 50% profit. But so it's entirely due to the fact that like cars are a necessity and bikes are a commodity. So the bike market with gas prices, especially like, I mean, the bike market went crazy when they did the whole COVID shutdown of like gas and stuff like that. Because with gas prices at like $1.10 a gallon, basically everybody was like, "Oh, it seems really fun to go like riding some sort of a vehicle that's gas powered for like leisure, right?" And then gas at like $5 a gallon, suddenly it's like, well, maybe
it's a little less fun.
Right, maybe this sucks ass now. So everyone is unloading all the bikes that they got.
Everyone was fucking biking around New York City during that because it's still. I mean, motorcycles are still like one of the best ways to get around the city. But during the COVID, no one's driving on top of it.
Yeah,
and everyone's was biking everywhere. That's like all I saw. But
I mean, on my college campus, it was like parking was so bad that realistically, if you didn't have a motorcycle, you were just going to be spending like an hour a day walking to and from your car, trying to get like to your parking spot or something. And the parking was insane. It was like $800 or $900 a semester for like a parking pad.
Oof.
Like totally stupid. It was actually so what I did. It was actually cheaper to go and just park wherever you wanted, and then just get the ticket and just deal with
then
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of paying the semester fee,
it's like at the time the tickets were like $5 or something. And it's like, I mean, fuck me, like I can get like 120 tickets before.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, I would just fucking take the tickets.
Yeah, before I even have to like start caring about this. And but then gradually, like I told other people that I was doing that, and everyone started doing that, and then they started raising the ticket prices, and now the like on campus ticket prices are like $75 or something.
Oh, you ruined the alpha, bro.
I
You
totally
alpha
destroyed it.
decay.
I did, but I ruined the alpha, and then I got out, and I got out with this like comical stack of like hundreds of tickets. Like I saved all of my. Well, I didn't save all. I probably saved a third of my tickets.
That's
Uh,
lit.
and yeah, it's just super funny to show people like, yeah, this was because when you tell people like, oh, this was my approach, like I just tanked the tickets, they're like, oh, that's amusing, but like you don't really understand how amusing it is until you pull out like this Bible of like, your tickets. And you're like, hey, no, it really happened, and this is what the physical representation of that looks like.
That's pretty sick. We used to actually just park on Walmart parking lots and shit and just walk.
So everybody started doing that, and then the businesses around there started putting up signs saying like, "You're all doing this, and there's no parking for our customers, and we will tow you."
Oh yeah, yeah. See, that was everyone said this, but then I know. I mean, I've already docked the school I want to at Carolina. Yeah, we used to like. There's like different bars that like that people wouldn't be there until later, and like the person who's working in the morning just doesn't care, right? So I would like park my car at like certain like bars that are nearby town, and like there's like bike path, and I would just like walk the bike path, and it was just way easier.
Huh.
Also, eventually you start using bicycle because then you have to
Our
like.
story was we had one church that was like the stalwart holdout. They were like, "Yeah, no, we're not gonna. We are a good Christian community church. We're not gonna start towing people. That's messed up. We don't want to tear the community apart like that." And so everyone just started like literally just 100% maximum capacity filling their parking lot at all times. And eventually they were forced to break down. And
That makes sense.
the church had to start bitch smacking people around and putting up the sign saying that they were towing everybody. It was
They're
so
no longer a
weird.
sanctuary.
For like a year. Everybody had gotten used to the church being like the safe space, and then they do this, and so many people got towed. Man, it was a fucking massacre.
I love that. That's so sick. That's sick.
They like lured them into this false sense of security, and then just like beheaded every single one of them. And like getting towed is one thing in like if I were to get towed now, it's like whatever, I'm gonna call up my buddy to go get me from wherever I'm towed from. I generally have an understanding of like which place is going to tow me, but like I'm thinking about like if I had gotten towed in college, it would have sucked ass because there would be like 15 places that could have picked up my car. I was like the only one of my friends for the first 2 years who like had a car on campus. So I'm gonna have to like, who do I even call to like take me over there? Uber,
good point. Yeah,
exist at that time. Like maybe like a taxi or something. Like it just would have been.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta use the taxi. That's what I used to use.
Yeah, and then like they're gonna say, "We'll give you back your car for," and then they can basically name any price at that point, realistically, right? Because they have legal custody over my car.
And yeah, they usually hike it up too. They like you'll pay like $300 easy.
Yeah. So it just would have been, I don't know, man. Like running.
I used to befriend the taxi company, like the local taxi company, because I used to bartend, and they would like we'd have like an understanding because I would give them like drunk customers, and then so like I got in on the details, so they would like give me free rides a lot and like pick me up. I had like their personal phone numbers, and they were like, "Oh, hey, we'll come to you automatically."
Oh, that's it. So it was like a mutually beneficial thing where you were like, anytime you had someone who needed a ride home, you were like, that's you guys, but in return,
yes, hook me up, and they'll give me like 50% off, or like just something. If I was really drunk, they would just like drive me home for free. Like they were,
that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And I give them free drinks when they came to the bar. It was like, it was like the fucking mafia.
I didn't understand really that you could start doing that stuff probably until like the junior year of college. It was first 2 years I realized like you can basically like make up any excuse you want to not do anything. Like my freshman year, I missed like 6 finals throughout the year, something like that. It's just insane. And it wasn't even like, oh, I had it in my calendar and I slept through it. It was straight up like I hadn't gone to class for like the 4 weeks prior. I didn't even know that there was like a final exam coming up. I was told like a week after the fact, like, oh, hey, Lucas, like, how'd you do on the final? And I'd be like,
Whoops.
Hold up, I need to send an email really quick. Yeah, just like I would send something to the professor, just some like what I learned basically is that like they know that your stories are bullshit and there's no real purpose to like putting a lot of effort into it. It's just a matter of like giving them enough that they feel that they're not being totally cheated and having
Yeah.
to like you. And if they, I mean, like every single one of them was just like, oh yeah, I haven't even fucking started grading them yet. Come into my office anytime during the
Mhm.
exam, just make up the exam. It's whatever, man.
That's how I mean, that's what I didn't. I stopped. Blah, blah, blah. I stopped even bothering to make like good excuses. I just kind of was like, I would just tell them the real thing is like I kind of overslept it,
Yeah,
like or like like I just like yeah. Can I make it up? Like whatever. Who gives a shit?
yeah. I started just being like, hey, like honestly, like I didn't attend class. Like I didn't know there was a final.
I mean, that was the final. I wasn't here all semester, but I can't fail this. So
Well, the funniest thing about this was I didn't realize that a lot of this was a product of like just staying after and like shooting the shit with the professors a couple times a year.
yes,
'Cause I other friends told me like, oh, I missed this. Like, how do I like Lucas? What do you do? Like, you've done this a bajillion times. How do you get out of it? And so I told them like exactly what I did and showed them what I do, and then they do the same thing, and the professor would be like, no, fuck you, dude.
oh yeah, no, you have to go to office. So that's the other thing. I always tell people you have to go to office hours because then like once they know your face or like know your name to some degree, they'll like hook you up from them that point forward because it's like
Right?
shows
Yeah,
you're
and especially
invested.
like if you're like a student that isn't like a super pain in the ass, just like because there's the people who go to the office hours all the time too, but it's clearly for some sort of like I'm primarily here so that I can put you down on my resume as like a contact, and I'm
Yeah,
doing networking, bro. Like this is a networking outreach. And,
and there's like people like I mean like, but even if you just go to like ice like because it's math right because at some point in math it just gets too hard so you have to go ask questions, right? So then I like even then like they would start to know me and then like I remember they like boosted my grade well like on the final like I had like the difference between like a two like a what is it like a B minus and a B, right? Because then that 2.7 versus a 3.0 matters. So I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. Here's another point. Because like also math people grade weird. Like they make tests that are like 4 questions long, and
oh yeah,
so that like that 3 point difference is arbitrary. So there's like, yeah, sure, you can have it. Because it's not even like it's like there was a 100 question test and you like missed this many. It's like, oh, you fucked this proof up, so you lost a quarter of your grade. So
the coolest
uh,
professor that I ever had, the best professor overall in terms of like teaching, but also coolest coincidentally, was this guy. He was a heat transfer professor, and his thing with grading was basically that he would test your model. So you would do the setup and you would write out basically like the modes that you thought heat transfer was going to occur, write your assumptions for why you assumed these were valid, go through all of this, write out the base equations for all of this stuff. And he like borderline didn't even like look at your actual answer. Because he was like, there simply is so much entering shit into a calculator, and the fact that I'm going to be grading you on how quickly you can type numbers, because it's like for any given problem, right? Like you have
mhm.
like 4 problems on the exam, and all of them require you to punch like somewhere between like 50 and 80 equations into your calculator accurately.
Mhm.
And he was like, I don't really, like
Have
if
the patience for
you
that.
yeah, right. Like if you forget to carry the zero or something, and then it
The
goes
transfers through your whole thing, and you're
right,
fucked.
and there's no way to like go back, and it's not like you're going to be off by like a constant factor of 10 unless you fucked up literally one step from the end, right? So it's going to be
Hmm.
like it's going to be this thing where you just have some error somewhere in there that's propagated forever, and like I just don't really care.
Yeah, no, that just sucks. That was I used to hate when that would happen. Actually, when I was a math teacher, I used to also just like find ways to make questions that couldn't happen. Like just stay away from fucking numbers, honestly. But you were doing something more like applied, right? So I
Yeah,
would like make like really as like things that are like so as into like abstract reasoning enough that like I don't have to bother about that. Like there's either you understand it or you don't.
it gets really
And
nice too when you can rewrite the question in a way where it's essentially just like a massive algebraic endeavor.
yeah, yeah, and then like I don't need the specifics. Like you don't need to plug numbers in. Just like do the hard part. The calculator. Like I'm not grading you for typos. But I did have a calculus professor who like who would like yell. Who'd be like, the work is part of the math, and you're like, yeah, it was. Yeah, I get that.
Right, like it
So
is. I mean, obviously, like in industry, yeah, like you're gonna have to do actual math and give them like an actual value for all of this stuff. That is not lost on me, but it's also like,
it's like 8 a.m. on a Tuesday, bro. Leave me alone.
yeah, like, this is not. There's never been a situation in industry where somebody's like, if you can't type 40 words per minute on your calculator, it's over for you. Like that's never been the limiting factor in anybody's job ever. I don't think. I mean, I'm sure it has. Like there's been some turbo, like just ultimate slave mode desk worker who's been like canned because he couldn't plug numbers into the calculator too quickly.
Oh, kitty! I can hear the kitty.
Oh yeah, he came up. He just fucking ate like 3 potatoes. I don't understand. Like he's reached the state of
Fat fuckery.
Yeah, he's so hungry. He's eating potatoes.
Yeah, man, yeah, you have your cats eating like vegetables. They're not really into that.
They're not. So none of the other ones like potatoes, but this guy is kind of like, he's kind of weird. He also likes to eat just like grass and tree bark and shit. And, like I don't even know if he does it for the nutrition. He might just like chewing. It's all gum.
So yeah, it's all just fucking. That's kind of sick. I like that.
This is the one that goes straight over the fence into the neighbor's yard. He's like really he's like the autist cat. He likes to go up in the highest place in my house and he just looks down.
He's in charge.
And when someone he's like, yeah, he's always like super alert. And then when someone so that little kitten came over and he sees the kitten, runs down from his perch, runs up to her, hisses as loud as he can, and then he runs away.
No, that's like he sits up the highest place. That's the cat hierarchy thing.
Huh.
Like their hierarchy is like explicitly
Height-based?
It's like explicit. It's height based, yeah. So the person in charge is the highest up.
That's
and that's just like how cats work.
I just think it's funny that he runs down and he like spazzes out at the little girl cat and then runs away. Like it's like some sort of like incel cat behavior. Like this is what
he's like I'm in charge. You gotta give me that pussy.
I'm imagining it as like the equivalent of like when some guy on Twitter reads a girl or he reads like the manosphere advice saying that, oh yeah, when you're talking to a girl, like you don't want to be too nice, like you got to be a little bit mean to him or something, and then he like goes and finds the girl that he has a crush on and he messages her like, you stupid fucking bitch,
you dumb fucking bitch,
you evil whore, I hope you die. And then he just like freaks out and gets worried about what he sent. He throws his phone on the bed without looking. The girl's just sitting there like confused, and he's like so embarrassed he never views the conversation ever again. What my cat is doing to this little kid.
The casualty of war, right there. the game, the love is war, though. You gotta fucking. Sometimes there are casualties.
That's one of the funnier things about like all of the dating advice on the internet for the most part is like true, but it's just a matter of like the degree to which you apply it. And like how you apply it situationally. And so like you can read anything, and like if you have a situation where that behavior makes sense in your mind, then you'll be like, oh yeah, I agree. And if you have a situation where it doesn't, then you're gonna be like, no, this is totally retarded. But like there's no real way you can tell somebody the way that something's gonna pan out like that until they've done it. So like you kind of need to go and like make every horrendous fuck up before.
Yeah, you have to. It doesn't really work without like. Basically, this is actually the big red pill. I've been trying to explain this. You can't explain this to women though, and also incels either. Like it is all true. All of the pickup artist stuff is 100% correct, but like you need to understand the mapping to the nuance of it, right? Because you can't verbalize it. Like,
and it's also one of those things where like if you go into it with the mindset of, oh yeah, I'm going to like I'm going to intentionally do all of this. Oh, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to ignore her text for 2 days because I have to show that I'm like aloof and disinterested. Like
you just look stupid,
right? And they can literally tell. Like I've had girls message me and be like, this was a very intentional pause. Like you can tell this guy was like, he was fucking chomping at the bit, waiting to get this message, right? And as soon as
like 15 minutes on the dot,
like they think that girls can't like pick up on this stuff, but they 100% can. If you're sitting there and you don't have anything better to do, then you can't pretend like, oh, sorry, babe, I was flying my flying my private helicopter over the Andes Mountains. Like you
Yeah,
can't
you
break
can't.
into them.
Yeah, absolutely not. Also, especially if you're like the kind of person who. So this is the thing that people also forget. If you're with the girl and you're the kind of person who's like always looking at your phone, you aren't capable of doing the waiting thing. Like you're not. You know what I mean? Like it's
Oh yeah,
obvious.
if you've ever hung out with her once and you've pulled your phone out like more than 3 times during the thing, and you like don't respond to her, then it's just like. But
You're
then
doing
again,
it on purpose. Yes, so this is Vers, and thanks for listening. This is just the first episode. We've recorded quite a bit of the conversation, and we plan to release it in the coming days. And we also plan to have guests and to do quite a bit more. So if you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, do the whole 9. Follow our Twitters, Vers underscore LALUNE and Schizofreak SCHIZO underscore FREQ, like schizofrequency. And yeah, catch you guys later.